Oh, because we're going to edit this, I can talk. You guys are good to go whenever you want.
Hello, ISD families. My name is Karim Mendoza Brown. I'm the school parent liaison with the Allentown School District. I oversee the Office of Family and Community Engagement. And this is our third installment of the Hispanic Heritage Month Facebook Live session. And we are here at Allentown Police Department with Chief Roca and Detective
Pedro Cruz.
Before I get to introduce them, I'm just going to talk about 3 fun facts about Hispanic Heritage Month. Things you may not know or something you may know. So Hispanic Heritage Month started in 1968. It was declared September 15th through the 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month. It is observed as for the first month. So why does Hispanic Heritage Month start on September 15th? September 15th is the anniversary of independence for Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua. So that is why it started on the 15th. And according to the U.S. Census, Hispanic Americans number nearly 60 million and represent over 18% of our country's population. Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is a country located on the island of Hispaniola and is in the Caribbean region. The native Taino people had inhabited Hispaniola before the arrival of Europeans, divided into 5 chiefdoms. DR, it has the largest economy in the Caribbean and Central American region. And I wanted to talk about nuestra comida hispana. So we have a large history of, all types of nutritious, wonderful food. From sweets like tres leche, buñuelos, quesitos, arroz con leche, flan. And then we also have our savory stuff. Arroz con pollo, tostones, pastelón, carne guisada. And during the holidays, a nosotros me encanta pasteles and coquito, which is our version of the eggnog. And these foods are passed down from generations, from grandparents to parents to now our kids. And it, just like any other cultures, it tells a story that joins generations. So that's just a little bit of fun facts about Hispanic Heritage Month. So today, thank you again. I'm here with Allentown Police Department's chief. And if you could introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Charles Roca. I'm the chief of police in Allentown, born and raised in Allentown. I do love the fun facts because one thing that you don't stop doing is learning. And I think it's important for our community to know that that's a continual process, even when you're at different positions in the city or whatever business you go into. The key thing for me is about, coming up in Allentown, being born and raised here. It was very important to me that, we be successful. My mom, my father, we didn't come from a very rich economic background. We worked hard for what we had. My mom worked at a sewing machine factory. Well, prior to that, she came from Guatemala to the United States and wound up in New York City. In the 70s, in the mid-70s, they moved down to Allentown. And then at that point was when I came along and, I said hello to the world. And at that point, Allentown's my home, and part of that is we also embrace our culture. And one of the things that we continue to do is, nosotros hablamos español en la casa, and then we talk Spanish at home, but we also make sure that we add to what's great about this country. And what's great about this country is the rich diversity that we have. You can learn so many things from different people, different cultures. You talked about the food, and that's probably something that is good for everybody's stomach because it opens conversation. Coming up in the Allentown School District, I went to my first elementary school was Jefferson, so I started there for kindergarten and first grade, and then my family moved, and I went to Hiram Dodd from 2nd through 5th. At that point, I went to South Mountain Middle School. Very, very enjoyable time there. And then my family lived on the south side, Allen side, so I went to Allen my freshman year. Yes, Canary Nation, I was part of that for a little bit, and I have love for Allen as well. And then from the end of that year, I moved to the Dieruff side of the south side. Being at Dieruff, it was a wonderful experience. It's a smaller school than Allen was at that time. And one of the proudest moments that I have that's a plus for Allentown was how everybody came together, especially my senior year. I played with many good teammates on the football team over there. We were able to beat Allen High School in the last game for the East Penn Conference Championship. But it wasn't about that. It wasn't about that championship. It was about seeing Allentown come together, and you looked at that time, and this was in 1992, you looked in the stands, everything was packed on both sides, because at that point, they had the bleachers on the other side at that point. And you could see the energy, and that's what's exciting about the rich cultural diversity that we have here, especially with the contributions that Hispanic, Latino people have made to the city of Allentown. I think it emphasizes the work that we have done, the things that people have sacrificed for, from moving to different countries, to coming to America, to making it even stronger. You know, after high school, I went on to college at King's in Wilkes-Barre. I initially wanted to be a psychiatrist. I'm very passionate about understanding the mind and learning about concepts and talking to people and making sure that you know, people can then communicate with me, because anything to build for the future is establishing relationships, and that's communication. And I think we all know that if you don't understand something, you do your best to try to find out what it's about. And for me, you know, interacting with different folks has always left me in a better spot. You know, I've had many different types of friends over the career. I had many Middle Eastern friends. I've tried learning Arabic, a very difficult language for me personally, you know, but I make that attempt. My mother had remarried over time, and to a Vietnamese gentleman, and I tried learning Vietnamese, but I had influences of the Asian culture in growing up, and so I don't know if many people know that, but it was something that I very much value, you know. In grandmother in Vietnamese is Bat Noi, you know, and I remember very lovingly when Bat Noi and the family came over from Vietnam to my house when I was living on South Law Street on the south side, and seeing just the happiness that my father had at that time, and seeing his mother and the rest of his family come over. And that's what it's about. It's about creating that hope, and how we as a community can come together. And I feel very honored and privileged to be where I am today. You know, it's a humbling experience for me, but I also want to stress that this isn't about me, because we have many good officers on this department specifically, and the culture and the identities that they bring upon this department make it that much richer. And I was very happy in coming up through the Allentown School District specifically. I always remember the different teachers that I have. I remember in 8th grade, going to algebra class, I Miss Christman. She was a diehard Mets fan. I think those of you that went to school with me will remember her. You know, we had a tour of languages in middle school from 6th through 8th grade, with Spanish, French, and German. And I remember meeting with the counselor, and they were like, "You're going to take Spanish, right?" And at that point, yo hablo español, so no es necesario para aprender más en mi mente, esa mi mente. So I said, "No, yo quiero aprender alemán. I want to learn German." And so I went to learn the German route, and it's very interesting to me, because I like the challenge. I like seeing other cultures, experiencing different things, because even though you achieve certain goals in your life, you don't want to be satisfied. You want to keep moving forward and kind of bringing people together, and, you know, forming a good community, because that's what it's about. And for me, you know, as I went to college, and in keeping that mindset together about self-improvement and also supporting the people around you, I carried that with me. And when I graduated college, you know, I very much, like I said, I enjoyed the mind, and I went to Kids Peace, and I became a mental health worker. And as a mental health worker, I had the occasion to work with the afternoon treatment program through Kids Peace. And myself and my partner, in the beginning, we would go and we'd pick up kids, Center City, Allentown. We'd bring them to a campus building on East Mass Avenue there in Salisbury Township, and we would have our focus groups. And part of that was behavior modification, or it was based on positive reinforcement rewards. So as they were able to, you know, understand the process and make good choices, we would give them a reward at the end of the week. And from there, I transitioned onto the Lehigh County Probation Parole Department. I started off teaching GED classes for offenders who were on supervision that did not yet have their GED, and I'm proud to say that we had a couple that got their GED during the time that I was there, so I feel very good about that, because no matter your circumstances, education is always the key into breaking down barriers. And that's one thing, and that's one thing that I really thrive on, is making sure that we break down barriers, that we achieve what we need to do in our education, whatever that might be. If the route is college, if the route is tech school, if the route is military, whatever that might be, always set goals for yourself and make them achievable. Have short-term goals and then long-term goals. And look at your circumstances. I didn't come from money. I came from a hard-working background. Like I said, my mother worked at a sewing machine factory. I remember helping her peeling the tickets because she worked piece rate and putting them on the card. And at that point, that was fun for me. But as I move through my life, I can think back and remember how hard it was at times. And I can empathize with our community members who probably experienced some things during this pandemic we're going through. Just like right now we're wearing masks. And I'm not going to put this as a political thing. I'm going to make it as a safety thing. It's important that we do the things that we need to do to get past this. And I think part of that is educating yourself on everything and making sure that the right decisions are made. And for our community, as I travel through my time as a probation aide, teaching GED classes, I transitioned to become a full probation officer. And at that, I got cases of people under supervision. And people had made mistakes, and at times that does happen, but they're able to come out of that situation and move forward. For me, the next progression that occurred and why I became a police officer in Allentown is because this is my city. I have a passion for Allentown, and I was born and raised here. And the thing with that was we started a ride-along program with Allentown Police at the time, and we got to talk with different officers, and I've experienced different things, and I wanted to be part of that. And I encourage those who have a thought of taking a career in law enforcement to don't hesitate, go forward, do well in school, have a clean background. We're gonna need you. The people that are in school today in the Allentown School District, at Dieruff, at Allen, at Building 21, or even in the middle schools and the elementary schools, you guys are our future leaders. Never forget that. You guys are gonna be the future mayor, the doctors, the lawyers, all types of different jobs that are out there. And for me, going on that ride-along program with the Allentown Police at the time, I was interested in transitioning to police work. So then I took the Allentown Police test, I got hired, I worked on the street for a little bit, I got transferred to the Vice Unit. So throughout my career, I've had investigative time, patrol time, achieving different ranks and everything. But at each level, it's not just about me, it's about bringing up the people that are with you and also supporting our community and making it a better place. Going into the different positions I'm in, I'm very humbled and honored, and I know it had been said before that I'm the first Latino chief in the history of the Allentown Police Department, and it's nice to be the first of something, but I don't want it to be the last. I want us to move forward. I want us to work together collaboratively and do it because based on the merits and what you can bring to the table. And that's how I've always approached everything, because to give credit to the Allentown School District, it gave me the foundation for success. But it has to be carried not only with the hard work done by our teachers every day in the classroom, but also by the parents or the caretakers at home to ensure that our environment is conducive for our kids to learn, para nuestra comunidad, para crecer, to have that passion so that you can be that change, that you can be that individual that is going to make it work, that's going to make this city move ahead. Because I always say, Allentown has a lot of nice development, great buildings, but we're not about the buildings, we're about the people. And a lot of times, we have to sometimes give a hand up for different folks. And it's important that we work together. In my own personal journey now, as far as for Hispanic Heritage Month, I view it as something that's very powerful, because it gives us a platform to be thankful for where we came from and where we're going to, and to add to the richness of what America is. That's powerful, because I love this country. I think the United States of America is the best country in the whole of the world, but I also feel valuable that every person can bring the rich culture of where they're from to that fold. They say it's the great melting pot. I've heard that a lot of times. And it's also about what we can accomplish together as a people, because our legacy will speak through our youth, and how we treat each other, how we treat the community, is how those ripple effects are going to happen. So I thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak a little bit about myself, but I do want to say too that at the end of the day, this is not just about me. This is about we have many hardworking officers across our department to make this city that much safer and that much better.
And I appreciate you speaking your truth, because I think a lot of our families, community members, students, staff need to hear from all different levels of people that we have in our community. And you've spoken about, I work very closely with our families and our parents and guardians. And your story sounds a lot like the stories of the families that I work with and that live here, and that send their kids to our schools. So to hear, that story, and to see where you've gotten, at this point in your career and in your life is wonderful to hear, because our families also need to hear that as well. Whatever level or whichever way that they decide that they want to do, but they are our future. So it's wonderful to hear that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And if you could introduce yourself.
Well, my name's Pedro Cruz, and I am raised in Allentown. Prior to moving into Allentown, I came from Puerto Rico, so my family's from Puerto Rico. I went through the school district here in Allentown. Initially, when I came, I had to learn English. So as I was doing that, I started to forget my Spanish. And then as I was able to get better in English, then I got back to my Spanish, to my roots, right? And then I got also exposed to other people's cultures and backgrounds, right? So even though my family's from Puerto Rico, I got to know other people from the Dominican Republic, South America, all different types of backgrounds. And you mentioned all the delicious foods, right? I got to experience what the foods are from other countries, and it was a beautiful thing for me. And I went on to become on to the police department. I've been on for 21 years, and my experience with the police department kind of mirrors the same experience through the school district, right? Back in the 80s, growing up in Allentown, we had a smaller population of Hispanics, right? And then it grew to where we're at today. Well, our police department has grown also, and I got to share a lot of experiences with other officers and their backgrounds. So I had the fortunate incident of having a veteran officer prior to me becoming an officer pull me aside and tell me why I should become an Allentown police officer, to give back to the community, to serve your people, and not just Hispanics, but your people as far as citizens of Allentown, where you can be the voice on both ends. And it made a lot of sense to me. I'm grateful that he took the time to pull me aside and have that conversation with me. So it's something that I hold dear, that it holds dear to me, and I try to give back and return that. So.
And it's funny because we all come from different places and everything, but we kind of have the same story. I came from Puerto Rico in the 80s to Altoona, Pennsylvania, the only Latina in the whole town until I graduated high school. I kept my language because mommy only spoke Spanish until she learned the language. And, being able to just like really push myself. I didn't have ESOL, so I had to just learn the language, and that's why I don't have an accent or anything like that. But I still kept my roots. My mother wouldn't let me let go of that, and that was really important to us. But why is Hispanic Heritage Month important to you guys?
It's absolutely important to me because, I mean, plain and simple, it's who we are. You know, it's I think Detective Cruz said it best, it's the foundation, it's your roots, it's what establishes you, what grounds you, and you can be proud of what you accomplished. Our country is made up of many different cultures, but for me, specifically Hispanic Heritage Month, I think is important because it's a chance to celebrate your foundation of who you are. You know, you said, Mommy, you know, we have a passion for our families, and we're very emotional when it comes to that. So I think it grounds us, it gives us a chance for a foundation, and a good building, a good structure is your foundation. Mm-hmm. And if that foundation is solid, you know, you can only go up from there. These are things that are powerful. This is what makes lasting impact. So for me, Hispanic Heritage Month is important because it allows me to celebrate who we are as a people, and it establishes those anchors or those roots or that foundation of the building that we can grow forward and then establish a legacy for our youth and our people going forward.
I echo the same words. You know, to me, I think of the culture, I think of the upbringing, I think of the respect, right, that's taught to you as a kid. Mm-hmm. It's when you walk into a room to your family and it's the bendiciones.
Bendición.
Right?
Dios te bendiga.
It's the, you know, shaking of the hands. Now, obviously, you know, we're living with the pandemic, you know, so you make adjustments to that, but it's the respecting. Respecting your elders, respecting each other, you know. So it's something that I try to use when I'm working, you know. So if I go to make contact with somebody, right, it's not the pounding of the door, right? Mm-hmm. It's having respect, right? It's the knocking, it's the sirs, it's the misses, you know. And to me, that all came from the foundation, you know, that I got from home, you know, that I got to learn as a kid growing up in the Hispanic community, you know. And you know, I find it to be a beautiful thing. You know, I sometimes I see when people don't have the chance to experience that they're missing out. You know.
Is there anything that the Allentown Police Department is doing to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, whether it's internally or something that you guys would like, you know, to share with the community?
Right now, we're working on some things that we're going to reveal shortly, a chance to highlight our officers, you know, and it's something key because at the end of the day, you know, we have many good contributions from many of our officers, a lot with Hispanic heritage and other heritages, so we want to highlight the good work that's being done by our officers because at the end of the day, it's not about Chief Charlie Roca, it's about everybody, about this team that we're moving forward in partnership with the school district, in partnership with our citizens in the community, so stay tuned for more from our end with that.
Awesome, well, we'll be able to share that information when it comes out.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you for being with us and sharing your information, sharing about yourselves and about how important it is, you know, being Latino, Hispanic, and Hispanic Heritage Month with our community and our students and our staff. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.